all senior government officials, Your Excellencies, if it please you now, allow me to invite the Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, who will make some remarks and proceed with the rest of the program. Welcome, Your Excellency Musalia Mudavadi. We can give him a warm clap as he's coming. And as we say in Kenya, karibu sana, Mheshimiwa Musalia Mudavadi. Welcome, sir.
Your Excellency, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and champion of the African Union reforms. Your Excellency, Azali Assoumani, President of the Union of Comoros. Your Excellency, Omaro Sissoko Embalo, President of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau. Your Excellency, John Mahama, President of the Republic of Ghana. Your Excellency, Taye Atske Selassie, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia. Your Excellency, Musa Faki, AUC Chairperson of the African Union Commission. Your Excellency, Mohamed Salem Mazog, Minister for Foreign Affairs and Mauritanians, the Islamic Republic of Mauritania. The Honorable Carlos Pinto Pereira, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau. The Honorable Ambassador Olivia J.P. Ndugorigirire, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Rwanda, and Your Excellency Mohammed bin Ayed, Secretary of State of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Tunisia. Distinguished representatives of the African Union Commission, members of the diplomatic corps present, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is my distinct honor and privilege to welcome you all to this extended Bureau retreat convened under the visionary leadership of His Excellency President William Ruto, champion for African Union reforms. We are gathered here today with a shared sense of purpose to advance the critical agenda of institutional transformation within the African Union, ensuring its structures are fit for purpose in addressing the aspirations of our continent. This retreat is a testament to the collective resolve of our leadership to forge a stronger, more efficient, and resilient union, one that reflects the dynamism of Africa and responds effectively to the needs of its people. Through your presence and active participation, we signal our unwavering commitment to the reform process and to build an Africa that is united, prosperous, and globally influential. Your Excellencies, as we embark on these deliberations, let us be guided by the principles of unity, solidarity, and accountability. The issues before us are not only institutional, they are deeply tied to the future of governance, economic integration, and sustainable development across our continent. Today, we have the opportunity to craft solutions that will resonate for generations to come. And before I conclude, I missed out to acknowledge my boss, the Deputy President Kithure Kindiki, who is also with us. It is now my honor and pleasure to invite His Excellency Musa Faki to come and make some remarks before I call on His Excellency the President to speak.
Excellence William Ruto, président de la République du Kenya, champion de l'Union africaine en charge des réformes. Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs les chefs d'État, de gouvernement et de délégation, Mesdames et Messieurs les ministres, Professeur Moukoko, chef de l'unité de réforme de l'Union africaine, distingués invités, Mesdames et Messieurs. C'est avec un réel plaisir que je prends la parole devant vous à l'occasion de cette retraite de haut niveau que Son Excellence William Ruto, président de la République du Kenya, champion de la réforme institutionnelle, a bien voulu organiser dans cette belle et dynamique cité de Nairobi. Je voudrais remercier très sincèrement le président Ruto pour cette initiative qui arrive à point nommé et qui doit vous permettre, Excellence, d'échanger sur des questions cruciales auxquelles notre organisation est confrontée.
I pay tribute to the heads of state and heads of delegation who have traveled to Nairobi despite their busy schedule, very busy schedule. 8 years after the launching of the institutional reform, a lot of water has flowed under the bridge. Substantive progress has been made under the determined leadership of President Paul Kagame, President of Rwanda, who was the first champion of reform, and I want to commend him. It is true that there is still much to be done in order to attain the objectives set by Decision 605 of July 2016 on the financing of the African Union adopted in Kigali, and Decision 635 on the reform of the institutions of the African Union adopted in Addis Ababa in January 2017. The appointment in February 2024 by the Assembly of President Ruto, whose dynamism is well known as the new champion of reform, bears witness to the will of the African leaders to complete the reform. We have to rejoice at it. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I've had the historical privilege of having witnessed the initiation of the institutional reform in July in Kigali, 27 in July, as the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Chad and Chairman of the Executive Council. Late President Déby Itno, may his soul rest in peace, was then the current Chairman of the African Union. And in March 2017, Destiny wanted me to be the first chairperson of the African Union, commissioned to be in charge of the reform under the supervision of the then champion. This is to state the commitment to the success of this reform, which is coordinated on a daily basis by Mukoko, the head of the reform unit, whose action I want to commend. I want to point out in a non-exhaustive manner the institutional reform of the African Union, the amendment of the achievements, that is, which include the amendment to the election process, as well as the shortlisting mechanism for the selecting the commissioners for the commission. The transformation of NEPAD into a development agency of the African Union, that is to give greater autonomy to the Africa CDC, and also to strengthen the secretariat of AFCFTA, and then to strengthen the mandate of APRM and have its budget included in the budget of the African Union. The objectives set up for the peace fund, that is fixed at $400 billion, have been attained. Now the replenishment of the fund has been launched in Accra when we had our sixth mid-year coordination meeting in Accra, and has been reviewed, that is, the scale of assessment has been reviewed in order to have a greater balance and reduce the burden of all member states. The budget process of the African Union is being improved with the adoption and implementation of the action, which is obviously not perfect, but initiated by the 15 African ministers of finance. And then with regard to relations with the regional economic communities, the results that we have obtained is encouraging. The second ordinary session of the African Union, which was held in June, July each year, has been replaced by a mid-year coordination meeting that brings together the 5 heads of state of the Bureau of the Assembly, bringing together the 5 heads of state, members of the Bureau of the Assembly, and then the chairman, the current chairman of the 8 regional economic communities recognized by the African Union, and then the head of the Orientation Committee of NEPAD and the chairperson of the African Union Commission. Furthermore, the protocol on the relation between the African Union and the regional economic communities has been reviewed. The new protocol has been in force in 2021. As regards the division of labor between the African Union and the regional economic communities and the member states, and under the enlightened leadership of President Ruto, champion for reform, has made significant progress with the submission to the reform unit of the report of the consultant hired for that purpose. A retreat will be organized on 6-7 February in Addis Ababa to consider this said report. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, during the deliberations, I want to openly and frankly tell you the facts that I have noted and the lesson learned over the 8 years that I have been at the helm of the African Union Commission. It will behove you to give the necessary orientations that you deem necessary, and that will be led by President Ruto. Because reform shakes up entrenched habits. Yes, reform is difficult, but it is necessary for Africa can find all its rightful place in the community of nations. By saying goodbye to those who will not be participating in this summit, I want to thank you for your kind attention.
Your Excellencies, with your permission, I would like to request His Excellency Mohammed Salem Mazog to make a statement on behalf of the President of Mauritania.
In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most, and may peace and blessings be on his messenger. Excellency William Samuel Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya, an African Union champion for institutional reform. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, heads of state, and dear brother, this is the chairperson of the African Union Commission. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is a proud honor to address you today representing your brother, His Excellency President Mohamed Sheikh Al-Ghazwani, chairperson of the African Union, who unfortunately has not been able to be with you because of certain commitments and is unable to be in this meeting, a gathering which he highly values. He has entrusted me with the responsibility of conveying his apologies and his warmest regards and sincere wishes for the success of your discussions in attaining the objectives that serve our continent and strengthen the path of unity and shared solidarity. May I, Your Excellency President William Samuel Ruto, to express to you our profound gratitude for the warm reception and generous hospitality extended to us since our arrival in this beautiful and very welcoming country. I would like to seize this opportunity to extend my congratulations on the well-deserved trust bestowed upon you by the African heads of state and government through decision 866, appointing you as the African Union champion for institutional reform, succeeding His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Sisterly Republic of Rwanda. With your wisdom, vision, and commitment, there is no doubt, and I'm confident that you will continue to lead the process of institutional reform with distinction. Your leadership will undoubtedly align with our collective aspirations and drive forward the strategic goals outlined in Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. This vision of a strong and effective union embodies the aspirations of our continent for sustainable development, regional integration, and shared prosperity. I would like to seize this opportunity to acknowledge the outstanding efforts and remarkable achievements of His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Sisterly Republic of Rwanda, for his visionary leadership in steering the structural reform process of the African Union has been nothing short of transformative. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the reform of the African Union is not merely a necessity, it is a moral imperative and a noble ambition that we collectively pursue. The complexities of global situation marked by escalating crises, coupled with the multifaceted challenges our continent faces, underscore the need to consolidate our unity and reform our union to better serve Africa. We envision our union as a powerful instrument capable of propelling our beloved continent to its rightful position on the global stage. Through this collective effort, we are determined to make meaningful progress in fulfilling the legitimate aspirations of our people for inclusive, balanced, and sustainable development. To this end, the reform of the African Union must lead to the establishment of a dynamic and efficient structure with well-defined roles and responsibilities free from duplication and conflicting mandates. This will enable us to concentrate our efforts on advancing the continent's most pressing priorities, including peace and security, economic development, regional integration, and the strengthening of governance and transparency. A fundamental prerequisite for this, of course, is ensuring that the Union possesses sufficient financial autonomy to carry out its responsibilities with both efficiency and effectiveness. The decisions we make as part of our structural reform process must be bold and resolute, aimed at unifying efforts, closing gaps, and addressing the shortcomings that have been identified. These decisions should foster greater harmony, coherence, and integration of the African Union, regional economic communities, regional mechanisms, and member states, ensuring the successful implementation of the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. Additionally, these decisions must be clear and unambiguous, leaving no room for misinterpretation. We must also establish robust mechanisms Last year, we faced the consequences of not strictly adhering to the decisions made at the 11th Extraordinary Summit of the African Union, particularly regarding the election of senior leadership for the Commission and the application of the regional rotation principle. Just days before the nomination deadline, we were confronted with a complex crisis that threatened to derail the elections and raise doubts about a commitment to upholding this essential reform principle. However, the timely and wise intervention of His Excellency President Mohamedou Sheikh Al-Ghazouani, the current chairman of the African Union, in convening an extraordinary Executive Council meeting in March, enable us with God's grace to overcome this crisis. By establishing a clear and transparent process for nominating senior leadership positions for the Commission, we were able to resolve the issue, reach an agreement on the of the elections. Ladies and gentlemen, Excellencies, Heads of State, we stand at a pivotal moment in our history, a moment to strengthen our unity and realize the aspirations of our peoples as articulated in Agenda 2063, the African we want. Let this milestone be the foundation of a strong, dynamic, and effective union that embodies Africa's collective ambitions for peace and prosperity. The success of the reform agenda of the African Union hinges on our collective determination to implement our decisions with diligence and to establish a fair and transparent recruitment system. This system must attract the best talent from across the continent, as it is the foundation upon which development and integration must rest. As I conclude, allow me to express my heartfelt appreciation for your sincere efforts on behalf of President Sheikh Al-Ghazouani, and I would like to thank Musa Faki Mahamat for all his efforts over the years that he has served at the helm of the organization. I thank you. I would like to thank you and look forward to fruitful deliberations that will lead to decisions advancing our shared goal. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace and blessings be upon all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to invite...
Excellences, Mesdames et Messieurs, c'est mon honneur maintenant d'inviter
Ruto to make his address and take us forward from there.
Your Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, Africa Union Commission Chairperson, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the government and people of Kenya, I extend a very warm welcome to you all, and it is my profound honor that Your Excellencies have graciously accepted my invitation to participate in this extended Bureau retreat on Africa Union institutional reforms. Your presence here reaffirms the unity of purpose that binds us together as we chart the course for Africa's future. I have convened this retreat as the champion of the Africa Union institutional reforms following the assignment Your Excellencies gave me during the 37th Assembly of Heads of State and Government in Addis last year. This retreat is an opportunity to pause, reflect, and refocus our collective energies towards an African Union that is robust, efficient, and most importantly, fit for purpose. As Your Excellencies will recall, I was tasked with the role of re-energizing the reform process by ensuring the outstanding reform priorities are concluded as soon as is practicable. These reform priorities include the restructuring of the remaining Africa Union organs, institutions, and offices, as well as the study on the division of labor between the Africa Union, regional economic blocs, and states. I was also tasked with reporting on the progress of reform implementation during the forthcoming ordinary session of the Assembly in February next month. Today, we stand at a crossroads, a juncture marked by complex geopolitical developments, economic challenges, and an unprecedented social transformation. Yet within these challenges lie unparalleled opportunities that have the possibility to unlock the full potential of our continent through initiatives such as the Africa Continental Free Trade Area and other continental interventions. Our task here is to harness these opportunities, galvanize political will, and renew our collective commitment to a prosperous Africa. Your Excellencies, the Africa Union is built upon the noble foundation of liberation. Liberation from colonialism and apartheid, from oppression, and from dependency. The transformation from the Organization of African Unity to the Africa Union was not a departure from this mission. Rather, it was an evolution, a shift towards addressing contemporary challenges and seizing new opportunities. The Africa Union remains firmly in the business of liberation, liberation from poverty, conflict, and underdevelopment, from unfair global trading practices, and from exclusion in the global decision-making metrics. To achieve this, our institutional architecture must be strengthened, streamlined, and strategically aligned with our vision. Since my appointment as champion of AU institutional reforms, I have engaged extensively and strategically with key Africa Union stakeholders to advance the reform agenda. These engagements include meeting with the Africa Union Commission leadership, led by the Chair, His Excellency Musa Faki Mahamat, whose insights and ideas have formed an immense part of my presentation. The Africa Union Institutional Reforms Unit Secretariat, led by Professor Pierre Mukoko, and in a retreat that I convened in Naivasha, Kenya, on reforms that brought several actors together. Additionally, I have held consultative meetings with the Permanent Representatives Committee in Addis Ababa, the leadership of the Pan-African Parliament, led by Chief Fortune Charumbira, as well as Dr. Donald Kaberuka, the AU representative for financing the Union, here in Nairobi. I wish to thank my dear brother, His Excellency Paul Kagame, President of the Republic of Rwanda, for the outstanding work he did as the pioneer champion of the AU institutional reforms. I commend him for his dedication and achievements in advancing the reform agenda of our organization. Excellencies, the road ahead demands bold leadership and unwavering commitment. Given that the implementation of the reform priorities is a political process, it is my view that execution should continue to be guided at the level of heads of state and government. I shall therefore be proposing to recommend to the Assembly, of course with your concurrence, the formation of a committee of heads of state and government of the Africa Union on AU reform to oversee this process. This will ensure sustained momentum, strategic oversight, and collective ownership of the reform process. I invite this August gathering to provide guidance on the appropriate formula for representation in the committee. To give focused attention to AU reform momentum, I'm also requesting that we consider the possibility of convening an extraordinary summit of heads of state and government later this year. Ladies and gentlemen, to realize the objective of the Africa we want as outlined in Agenda 2063, we must reinvigorate our political resolve to embrace Africa Union reforms, institutional reforms. These reforms are fundamental to transforming the Africa Union into a robust institution capable of securing a progressive and united Africa. A prosperous, integrated, and globally competitive Africa is within our reach, but only if we act with urgency, unity, and single-minded resolve. Your Excellencies, the continent is facing unprecedented challenges regarding peace and security. Conflict continues to rob Africa of its potential, costing the continent an estimated $18 billion annually and displacing millions of people. Africa today is home to 35 million internally displaced persons, 8.9 million refugees, 1.1 million asylum seekers, and 1 million stateless people. Between April and June 2024 alone, a total of 1,000 terrorism incidences were recorded across Africa, resulting in 4,818 deaths. This is an existential moment for our continent. The Africa Union security architecture, in its current configuration, is incapable of addressing these complex dynamics and challenges, and there is an urgent need for immediate revitalization of the peace and security architecture. The African Union's presence in regional hotspots remains weak, fragmented, and under-resourced. The African Union's network of special envoys and high representatives is underutilized and urgently needs refreshing in certain cases. As peace is the key precondition for development, it follows, Excellencies, that our continent's developmental goals are being hindered by these destabilizing forces. Strengthening the performance and effectiveness of Africa Union peace support operation is a strategic imperative given the volatile, complex, and interconnected nature of threats to collective peace and security. The fight against terrorism on our continent remains fragmented, reactive, poorly resourced, and uncoordinated. Developing, therefore, a comprehensive plan of action for countering terrorism in Africa, as foreseen by the 2022 Malabo Declaration, cannot wait any longer. I urge you, my esteemed colleagues, to reflect deeply on how we can further fortify our peace and security architecture. One pertinent proposal is to convene a high-level panel of Africans or professionals, perhaps 3 experts, to conduct a comprehensive review of our AU peace and security framework. This panel would also assess the feasibility of implementing the UN Security Council Resolution 2719, which offers a viable pathway for financing AU-led, UN-mandated peace support operations through assessed contributions. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is regrettable that despite the Assembly's decision to limit the summit agenda to 3 strategic items as outlined in Decision 635, the agenda continues to remain excessively complex and time-consuming. This complexity continues to hamper the efficiency and effectiveness of our deliberations at the summit. To streamline the Assembly's proceedings, I will be recommending for your consideration a revised format that includes a high-level opening session followed by a dedicated session for national statements by heads of state and government focused exclusively on the 3 agenda items. Each one of us will be allocated between 7 and 10 minutes to address any of the items, ensuring precision and focus. At the close of the Assembly session, the Chairperson of the Union and Chairperson of the Commission will issue a communique that encapsulates the deliberations and outcomes of the summit. In addition, I shall propose that the AU Commission be mandated to publish the Assembly and Executive Council decisions within 7 days of the summit's conclusion, ensuring transparency and prompt dissemination of resolutions. Excellencies, dear colleagues, Africa possesses the possibility and the capabilities and resources to finance herself sustainably and adequately. The revitalization of the Africa Union Peace Fund has been a commendable step forward, but we must consolidate these gains and set even more ambitious financing targets. A higher endowment for the Peace Fund is essential. In achieving this, domestic resource mobilization and strategic partnerships will play a pivotal role, all the while upholding the fundamental principles of African ownership and African leadership. Since 2020, the Africa Union budget has remained stagnant despite the increasing scope of our mandates and the creation of new institutions. Our ambitions must be matched by a predictable, sustainable, and accountable financial framework. I therefore propose for your consideration again the convening of an extraordinary session of Executive Council with the participation of Ministers of Finance to explore the present and present to the Assembly viable options for achieving the Johannesburg financing target within the next 5 years. Additionally, I recommend that the Assembly mandate the Africa Union High Representative on Financing the Union, Dr. Donald Kaberuka, to develop a concept note and a comprehensive report on practical options to achieve these targets. And I'm happy that Dr. Kaberuka is in our midst. Distinguished colleagues, the operationalization of the Court of Justice of the Africa Union remains a critical priority that must be pursued with renewed vigor. This judicial body is essential in providing a legal mechanism for the resolution of disputes between African states, as well as between the Africa Union and its various entities. Additionally, the court will serve as a court of appeal of decisions of the Africa Union Administrative Tribunal, thereby enhancing the credibility and efficacy of our continental legal framework. Although the protocol of the Court of Justice of the Africa Union came into force in July 2009, its implementation was deferred to facilitate the merger with the African Court on Human and People's Rights and to expand its mandate to include an international crimes chamber. It is now imperative that we move forward decisively in operationalizing this vital institution, and I will be presenting a resolution to the Assembly for the immediate appointment of judges to this court. In addition, the revitalization of the Pan-African Parliament is a matter that demands our collective focus and commitment. During a recent consultative meeting in Nairobi with the leadership of the Pan-African Parliament, we reaffirmed the need for a high-level advocacy to secure the ratification of the Malabo Protocol by an additional 13 members, thereby reaching the required threshold of 28 ratifications. As of now, only 15 countries have ratified the protocol, which seeks to empower the Pan-African Parliament with permanent membership and legislative authority to formulate model laws that will shape the governance of our continent. As champion of the Africa Union reforms, I call upon your excellencies to rally behind this effort and accelerate the ratification process. As we embark on our consultations today, I wish you all fruitful deliberations. Let us work together towards producing empowering and impactful outcomes that will drive the reform process forward and position our union for greater achievement. Again, to all of you, welcome to Nairobi.
Your Excellency, with your permission, I will now call upon the heads of state to make their statements. May I start by calling upon the Honorable Azali Assoumani, President of the Union of Comoros.
Excellency,
dear brothers, Dr. William Ruto, Dr. Abaka Iyami, Excellency brothers, the Chair of the African Commission, Mr. Musa Faki, dear brother, Head of State and Head of Government, Ministers, Honorable Assistants, Assalamu alaikum. Allow me, first of all, to disseminate my sincere thanks to our brother, Dr. William Ruto, President of Republic of Kenya, and also to his government and of the African, and also for the warm welcome that has been given to us by his people any time that we are coming in Kenya, especially this beautiful capital of Nairobi. I would like to thank our dear brother Musa Faki Mahmad, a chair of the African Commission, with His Excellency President Ruto, have taken these very pertinent initiative of this high-level meeting on institutional reform of African Union a couple of months before giving this duty to his successor. I would like to thank also sincerely our brother Paul Kagame, President of Republic of Rwanda, who led with in a very efficient manner the process, the reform process of the African Union. I would like also to thank the initiative and these high-level retreat focusing on institutional reforms as well as structure of the African Union. I won't be too long because our two brothers, Musa Faki and Ruto, have already said it all. However, I would like to highlight some changes that are ongoing, some that were also been organized and some didn't. So this also pushes us to adapt ourselves to the current situation. Therefore, now that we are preparing ourselves for the 38th ordinary Pan-African meeting, this meeting gives us an opportunity to highlight and to bring out important point of these reform that will be that was held in March 2018. And I would like to congratulate my brother President Ruto for his brilliant presentation about the current reforms. And if these reforms today has had a lot of progress since his launching, as he has just underlined. So it is, of course, there are a number of challenges that we need to overcome in order to improve services that we provide from our organization, especially on its efficiency, operational efficiency, and to be able to reach to a level of having sustainable financing, as well as with the support of African citizens. Mr. President Mustafa has sent me a document, and this document highlights the situation of our organization, as well as the different structures, and also during his tenure as the chair of the Union African. And I would like you to applaud him for because of this important document that I had the opportunity to read, and I also responded to him. So I would like to share with him the trust that I have towards also our brother, my brother President Ruto, based on these documents. And I think, as you have said, it is the right time to establish a committee that will help us to reflect, as also will suggest or brings us or give us solution in order to overcome our challenge, which is the Agenda 2063 of the African Union. On top of these challenges, we also have the current conflict that are rising in Africa, on the African continent, as well as across the world. Under these contexts, as well as geopolitical challenges that really are shaking Africa as well as the world, as we have said before, Africa has all the potentials, and that will help him to overcome his ambition for the Vision 2063, as well as establishment of CFTA, and all the progress that has been highlighted based on these projects. And I believe that we'll continue. All that we are doing will allow us to resolve some issues, and especially also to give all these projects to the next generation and help them and give them a result that will enable them to move forward our continent. And allow me to also mention a number of things that are really shaking Africa. I think it's a very good lesson that has given to us. We need to move forward in order to find solution to those challenges that we are facing today. So it's up to us and our organization to make sure that our organization may be getting at the high level, at the international level. And I would like to thank Mr. Ahmed for the effort that you have done. And I look forward for much better progress in the future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It is now my honor to invite His Excellency Omaro Sissoco Embalo, President of the Republic of Guinea-Bissau.
My brother, Dr. William Samuel Ruto, champion of African Union, Your Excellencies, Member States, Vice President of Kenya, Mudavadi, President of African Commission, Ministers, Member States present here. I feel honored to participate in this retreat that is crucial for our continent. We are here in Nairobi under the leadership of President Samuel Ruto, and we are called to reflect on the institutional reforms of the African Union to better serve the aspirations of our people. Africa has a global context that has been changing, and the resilience of our institutions will determine if we will be able to cope with the challenges, so that we are not limited by inefficiencies. The reforms that we are discussing today are not only processuals, but they represent the base to achieve the objectives that was defined on the Agenda 2063 for a prosperous Africa and globally influent. We salute the leadership of the President Paul Kagame, and now the chair is on the hands of President Ruto to conclude this critical agenda. And we have labor that has to be given to the member states that is fundamental to a coordinated union and efficiency. We need to rationalize the responsibilities, including political issues, peace, security, trade, and we are able to guarantee that African Union can work as an unified institution for results. Besides that, the restoration of the African Union is fundamental to increase the accountability from the 57 entities. For the reforms, we were able to make significant progress, but we need to continue with our work so that we can report on February 27. Financial budget is essential for our activities. The decision number 65 of Kigali that introduced a tax of 0.5 to finance African Union activities was a critical step. However, we still have challenges in implementation, and I call all member states to honor their commitments, the revitalization of the peace within African Union, as well as the Act 27 of the United Nations. We need to cooperate for peace and security in Africa. We need to consider these wins, mobilizing internal resources, mobilizing partnerships, and also creating a committee. We have a committee that was created by the President William Ruto for accountability. This platform will bring the work together that is done within the member states for the reforms that address the needs of our population. While leaders, we need to defend these reforms and maintain them steadfast. We need to act not only representing our nations, but also protecting the collective destiny of Africa. Your Excellencies, today we are in this retreat for our purpose that a reformed African Union, it is essential for our common objective. We have many challenges, but the opportunities are bigger. So may this retreat bring out our commitment in building a committed African Union, and that is equipped to drive our continent to an era of peace and global influence. Asante sana. Muito obrigado.
Thank you, Your Excellency. It is now my honor to invite His Excellency Taye Selassie, President of the Federal Democratic Republic of Ethiopia.
Thank you very much. All leaders are not tall. Your Excellency William Samoei Ruto, President of the Republic of Kenya and champion of the Africa Union institutional reforms, Excellencies, Heads of State and Government, Your Excellency Musa Faki Mohammed, Chairperson of the African Union Commission, distinguished ministers and delegates, and ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to express my sincere gratitude to the people and government of the Republic of Kenya for the warm and gracious hospitality extended to me and my delegation. And I would also like to extend a warm greetings from your friend, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who couldn't be with us today due to an annual party congress that's taking place in Addis. I would also like to commend President Ruto for his exemplary leadership and steadfast commitment to advancing our collective goals, as well as for providing comprehensive update on the progress of the African Union institutional reform. We acknowledge with appreciation the invaluable contribution of the former champion of this reform, His Excellency President Paul Kagame, for laying a robust foundation upon which we can pursue our objective in building a strong institution. Excellencies, as we reflect on our reform journey, it is important to acknowledge the significant efforts we have made, particularly in structuring key African Union institutions. We have streamlined our summits, reformed our commissions, and rationalized the work of our key organs. Furthermore, streamlining our working methods is crucial for enhancing efficiency. Our commitment to ownership and accountability is evident in initiatives like the F-15 Finance Ministers Committee, the Revitalized Peace Fund exceeding, as mentioned earlier, $400 million demonstrates our collective resolve as well. Excellencies, while acknowledging the strides that we have made, we recognize that significant challenges remain in fully realizing the African Union's potentials. I wish, along this line, to emphasize on the following 5 key points. The first one is a question of inclusivity. This retreat provides a crucial framework for building consensus and engaging in meaningful discussion on the priorities of key reforms. While this platform undoubtedly provides significant impetus for AU reform, it will serve, Mr. President, as a foundation for a more robust and inclusive engagement with all member states, ensuring that their valuable contributions are effectively incorporated into the reforms the reform process. Second, probably a question that is pretty much dear to us is question of financial sovereignty. The new global